when we see these two teams walk up there, my body almost doesn't even know what to do. First I start jumping, I'm excited, then my eyes start watering like I'm crying or Freak's cutting onions over here or something.
And Kobe, if CLG wins again, are the faithful just continually rewarded for success in the NLCS, or is that train?
Rewards will not be given out until the end of this best of 5. I will let you know.
You let us know what the rewards end up being, but it's certainly going to be a trip to the mid-season invitational if you can win that best of 5, joining up with G2 Esports and a plethora of other teams who've already qualified.
Yeah, so I'm really interested in the bans right here so far. Azir was banned against TSM the entire semifinals. Also, Maokai being taken away from Hanser is really key when CLG holds first pick. They're almost forcing TSM into an echo ban here.
Yeah, look at the junglers that are up as well. You can't even attack top 3 right now. Both Nidalee,
right.
You know, Graves, everybody is up right now. So, they're going to leave everything up, and TSM wants to get 2 on the backswing.
This is huge. Every single game in the playoffs for these teams, when they've been on red side, they've banned Nidalee. So you would expect a Nidalee first pick, but that's not the way CLG was crafting their pick and ban. They were expecting a Nidalee ban to first pick Echo. Now they're stuck between choices.
I don't know. Since there's so many junglers up, I actually like the first pick Echo. You can take a Kindred. You can be fine as long as Svenskeren doesn't get off to an extremely quick first 3 minutes of the game.
Right.
But that's always
that's
always the issue with Nidalee though. Is the first 3-4 minutes.
All right, well, the early Nidalee looks like the choice, as well as because everything else can be traded back and forth. They're looking right now at the Kalista AD carry in for Double. If both these marksman players, Double and Stixay as well, are really known for this champion, I think she's been the most popular North American marksman pick overall, and it's going to be that one grabbed early.
6 out of the 7 playoff games for TSM, Doublelift has played Kalista, so he definitely wants to get that lane dominance going and snowball it towards the team fight.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty good against Echo too.
It definitely is good against Echo, and not only is it good for Doublelift and does he love this champion, it's right into a style of dominating lane, but it's also great for Yellowstar. Because one of the things that Yellowstar has been critiqued for all season long has been these issues where he's getting caught out, but now he's forced to stay with Doublelift, and Doublelift can even save his life.
This pick was huge for CLG. The triumvirate of top lane is Echo, Poppy, and Maokai. Maokai got banned. Echo
what
got
about
first
Trundle?
pick, and the Poppy. So I said triumvirate. That only means 3 here, Kobe. Poppy picked up here, and I wonder where she's going to go because, of course, we see Echo as a pretty prolific mid laner.
All right, we need to calm down a little bit because this is actually very crazy. There's so many choices that need to be made here. They don't know where Echo's going. It's probably going to be in the mid lane, but then we also have to wonder about the Trundle being thrown in there as well if TSM ends up going with the tank top laner, because then Trundle support gains huge value. Oh my goodness, they can easily pick Trundle here. Trundle and AD carry, and I think CLG crushes this draft.
Yeah, we had this draft actually a couple days ago. I forget if it was in the European semifinal or
it was
what.
SKT versus KT.
It was that, you're right.
Game 3.
It was SKT versus KT in the second, third place match sort of in Korea, and yeah, SKT got Trundle support with basically these 3 champions otherwise, and it was a really brutal team composition of 3 tanks plus double marksmen.
Yes.
CLG have 25 seconds to choose what they want those last 2 champs to be.
The only thing we have to wonder, though, is Aphromoo hasn't played Trundle. It doesn't fit into the style of Stixay needing to be able to win lane. So they won't, I think, get the optimal team fight value out of this, which would be the Trundle pick, but instead with Caitlyn Morg are going very heavy towards
Morgana has been something that's been very big in North America, and especially Aphromoo has put in a lot of time on this champion. Going to be an extra measure to try and keep Stixay safe. They've got a lot of protection for the backline, actually, with both Kindred and Morgana here. Caitlyn, she just wants to siege up and set up her traps to keep everybody off her back. Gragas is definitely a wild card, though, as he comes in with the barrel.
Sure.
If they can pull off a good ultimate, that can change everything.
And it's on Afro to put up a good black shield, and Stixay to stay far enough away to not get wrecked here. Final pick to come through for TSM. And even though Zed and Azir were banned, he's gonna get Corki in the mid lane here for Bjergsen. So double marksman, Nidalee, and 2 tanks for TSM. Meanwhile, it's Stixay, who had such a great Caitlyn game in the semifinals, getting that champion again.
Something really big here with that last pickup, I think, for TSM. And true to their name, is going to be the strength in the mid lane. Nidalee plus Corki is such a powerful mid-jungle combo here, going against a melee mid laner as well as the Kindred, which does take a little bit extra time there. And Svenskeren should have priority early.
True.
We'll see what kind of leash they give him as well, because sometimes you can boost Nidalee and really just get her off to a very, very quick early game.
Yeah, I'm looking at who he's masteries as well. It looks like he's gone for Thunderlords and a lot of AP in his rune page, so I'd expect an AP echo out of this as well. So as a melee, it will be a little bit risky later in the game, but it does speak to CLG not trying to do the giant tank wall, but more just using the echo as an assassin.
We'll see how well he can get into the backline and how much he can disrupt the rest of these players. The coaches shake hands. We are here into Game 1 of the Spring Championship Final. Let us know who is it going to be here in Game 1. Tweet at Lily Sports, hashtag CLG win, hashtag TSM win for who it's going to be here in Game 1. This best of 5 determines who wins the North American Spring Championship, as well as who joins G2 Esports and the Flash Wolves at the Mid-Season Invitational.
And heavily divided chants in the crowd for both TSM and CLG.
I love it, as usual. All right, definitely gonna have to watch deep wards here. CLG in the regular season almost always went for the deep lane swap wards as they run out of the base.
Yeah, the early phase here between Svenskeren and Xsmithy, I think, is going to be very important just because of how dominant Svenskeren has been in these playoffs and, you know, was the MVP against Immortals when they were able to 3-0 them in the semifinals. And that all starts with early game wards and beginning jungle paths.
Here it is. They're expecting the CLG early invade that they did so often.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to use Svenskeren as bait and then do an ambush. But CLG changing it up, going defensive spread here as far as the opening this time. And now TSM are at a disadvantage. They're walking blind into CLG wards.
Yeah, exactly. They got spotted by the early trinket ward that TSM themselves didn't see CLG put down. So all of this is in vision. CLG actually metagamed themselves by expecting what the TSM counter was going to be and already preparing for it.
Right, but I still actually like where Stixxay is right now because the AD carry is already in the lane without having to be giving away that intel. So even though TSM has gotten the deep lane swap wards, they still don't know where Stixxay has been. It's actually a fairly rare play to have the AD carry sitting up there as far as how many times you do the late invades and the late swaps.
Yeah.
So he's got a little bit of an intel advantage early on.
You can't get both. You can't set up an ambush to try and counter a CLG invade and get your early wards down first. All right, let's see here. Looks like Stixxay is going to stay up on the top side.
Yep.
And CLG are going to get their lane swap.
So lane swap it's going to be here as the Morgana from Aphromoo slowly makes his way up there. We will not have actually a hard jungle start. And watching the Braum and the Kalista run around the map, it looks like TSM were near the top side. Then after seeing Caitlyn realize they don't want to be part of a 2-on-2, so they will make a late trip down here. But look what Darshan gets to do. He gets a full wave. He's going to delay the turret take.
That's the value of the level 1 play by CLG there. They had the ward, they got the deep ward, and they also camped Stixxay up top, so CLG didn't know. And you're seeing their late response to that right now as Yellowstar nearly makes up for that deficit they were going to be facing, but already Darshan is getting far more farm than you would ever want him getting in this early of a lane swap scenario, which could end up turning into turret trades.
He's already level 2 in a lane swap.
That's huge.
And that turret's not going to die anytime soon.
I want to see CLG take this early lane swap advantage that they have because they have this poke-heavy, double-ranged duo lane that they were able to shove TSM around the map. I want them to keep this momentum up after the turrets are taken as well. So often, people criticize North America for these the ranged support meta that we have here, which is kind of an oddball. But this, if you get the early advantage on turrets and you get the early turrets going down, you can transition very quickly into taking the mid lane turret as well, because range supports coming over can put a lot of pressure on that mid lane.
And I'm curious to see how both these teams play out their lane swap game, because CLG are only keeping the 2 up there. Huhi will just teleport back to the mid lane, but normally a top laner joins in the turret push, and Darshan, actually a bit late to the party, will slow down their rate of turret take.
He definitely saved his teleport here, and that funnels a little bit more experience and resources into Stixxay than it does into Darshan, because they're not sharing as much as TSM are, because if we look at the experience right now, we have Darshan, who's still at level 2.5, and Haunter's actually pretty much exactly the same as far as experience goes. So despite not getting the wave, because of the amount of experience Haunter shared with Yellowstar and Doublelift, the top laner himself is there, and they're a little bit slow on that turret. They're gonna have to shove this in now, actually.
They're probably gonna go down within a few seconds of each other.
I think they're gonna have to bounce this off the second wave, though.
Yeah, they have to shove this now.
Yeah, they have to shove it. This is not the cleanest of plays by TSM, whereas CLG's does seem a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
Well, CLG going to set up that freeze pretty easily. Darshan takes it down with a half-health caster minion. And he's actually auto-attacking minions a little bit more. I want to see if he does push his wave in. It will be Kalista and Braum heading topside, so Darshan would optimally push this. Once he realizes that's happening here, he does not have deep trinkets to see that, though.
He's going to push it anyway,
know what
though.
The choice is.
Well,
I
think you could infer, because what's happening right now is we know the Caitlyn Morgana matchup is going to be trying to continually dodge the Kalista Braum. So that means you're double shoving the lanes and going for the 4-turret trade or the 3-turret trade as opposed to just 1 turret on the outside. Which means you want to shove as much as possible to delay the other 80 carry from getting it all the way into your turret.
I would think that it would kind of be the other way around, right?
Yeah, Caitlyn Morg wants the 2-on-2. Like, TSM
Caitlyn
took
Morg
a bad lane swap to get away.
It's the other way around, yeah.
Yeah, but because, TSM trying to hide Stixxay's in the bot lane first, he's pushing this one as fast as he can. The Morgana now joining him up as well, so we will see the bot lane turret beset right now. In terms of total gold, keep in mind these teams are basically equal. TSM swapped away from a really bad 2-on-2, and via the lane swap are afloat right now.
Smithy getting in there with the early counter jungle. People often underestimate Kindred, even though she's a Devour jungler. The early skirmishing is extremely powerful. Especially, it really gives the advantage to whichever jungler finds the other at a camp, because you've expended all of your abilities on that camp.
Missing cooldowns, missing some health, never a good place to be. Fervor, also a nice thing about Kalista is if you ever land a Q on a champion, that's 2 stacks on Fervor right away, so you press your auto is just that much more powerful.
Yeah, and for all the excitement we had about the lane swap, it is equalizing very closely. And then what is also equal, which is a bit unexpected, is the mid lane matchup, considering there's been no jungle pressure. Who he used to teleport to get back in the lane very early, but he's keeping up as a melee versus Corki extremely well in CS.
There is an important point about keeping up, though, in that Stixxay has actually grown a CS lead over Doublelift. Everyone else is pretty much equal to, like, within ±3, but you've got a 10 minion lead for Stixxay, as CLG have just found a way to get more last hits. Either be showing up to the lane sooner. Again, there was 7 CS that Darshan got that Hans was never a part of, and that's just kind of percolated through the team.
Yeah, as far as the mid lane matchup, Huhi using the teleport to get back to lane. That's how he's keeping up in CS there.
Yeah.
Echo's one of the few melee champions, because of the time winder. Can try and shove very quickly, even against the ranged champion, and use teleport to get back. That will be a big thing later as well. Double teleport has been huge recently, and CLG love the mid-game trading objectives. They'll have that extra global to work with.
Yeah.
And Bjergsen will only have the semi-global of package, which is definitely a good tool to answer things with and counter global with, but not quite the same.
Yeah. And it's worth pointing out that second global from CLG, Huhi, is going for an AP Echo build. That early Negatron Cloak speaks to him going Abyssal Scepter first item, right? An ability power focused build, a damage focused build. He's going to have a pretty good time, I think, fighting Bjergsen with that kind of an item build. And I want to see how much you can do with the more assassin-focused build order. It's at this point now the rarity for Echoes to be building AP as opposed to tank. We see it sometimes, but not as often.
When they go mid lane, it's more of a 50-50, but I absolutely agree with you. And the Abyssal Scepter will give him an early game power spike. We have to pay attention to the itemization breakpoints in this one as well. In this lane swap scenario, Stixxay has gone Call and very early Boots of Swiftness. So he's just looking to run around quickly, farm, and not be very combat effective until probably his second major item. Whereas we're looking at Doublelift, he's skipped Call, gone straight to Recurve Bow, and Kalista spikes much faster off of just getting the Hurricane.
Right.
So when that happens, Doublelift gets Hurricane, Bjergsen gets Trinity Force, that's exactly when TSM is going to be looking to make an aggressive play.
And exactly when Huhi's going to be squishy, and Abyssal Scepter against a Kalista never feels great.
Italy, with the Rift Herald buff, just feels so good.
Oh, God.
I don't think you can have more early game tools in the game right now, but Svenskeren able to get in there. Quick red buff takeaway and get back to his own side. Bjergsen going to be hard pressed here. This is what I was talking about. The rotation of the North American range supports over to mid lane after they have the early lead on their towers, and they chip down mid lane here.
Absolutely. The Caitlyn Morg trying to get as much done as possible, but Bjergsen does have a blue buff, and Svenskeren is still pretty powerful, so they were unable to get really any work done on that first push. TSM seemed to be ready for it, and the question will be how long CLG stays with that push versus when will Doublelift come back, and it looks like CLG actually has to abandon the push right away since Corki had the blue buff, and Doublelift will actually catch up in CS and punish CLG for making that mid lane attempt.
Feels good and competitive there for Smithy, able to get his first stack on Kindred off of the Krug.
9 minutes in off of, bot side Rift Herald. It's actually worth pointing out, by the way, for people who don't know about the mechanics of Kindred. It's actually not random entirely which jungle camp gives you the mark. It's actually a sort of staggered situation. The first 3 are on Scuttle or Rafters, and it gets progressively deeper into the jungle as you get more stacks. So when people see like, oh, he got Rift Scuttle so early on, it's like, well, he's probably going to.
So it still is random, it's just the number of options.
They're all good options.
That can spawn.
Right, they're always good options. It's not, you don't get Krugs till you got 3 stacks or more, so it's not nearly as difficult in the early game.
Oh, here we go. Early gameplay.
Oh, the phase dive actually got interrupted, knocked into the air. The shield's coming out, but he can't hit it in time. First blood comes through for Doublelift. Great Fate's call on a Yellow Star.
Yeah, I love the attempt there. After they'd been swapping back and forth and Stixxay was having to crash into a big wave, they were able to sneak through the river to make that play possible.
And this is exactly what TSM want. This is all according to their game plan here. They want to jump off to those first item power spikes you were talking about, Jet. That first blood is going to do a lot getting them there.
Yeah, that was before the item power spikes, as you mentioned, so they will be stronger around the return of the next Rift Herald and the next Dragon. That's a very critical kill.
And who got that kill? Doublelift.
Huge.
Money couldn't have gone into a better spot for TSM.
Huge deal for him. Now Longsword picked up as he goes towards the rest of his items, but he is now much more powerful than Stixxay and will be for quite some time. TSM can ride this wave of a 1,700 gold lead pretty early on in this one with just a kill and the extra farm they're now getting up. You can see one of the big beneficiaries, Svenskeren, up 700. Yes, some of that's the 100 gold assist, but the rest of that is him simply jungling faster than Xmithie with that first round.
Italy, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it is Italy, but that's the price that CLG paid for first picking Echo instead.
Also, there's been, an interesting transition for Xmithie throughout the year as he started to focus a lot more on hard farming in the jungle and counter jungling his opponents. Taken away from a lot of observation of the LCK, where the junglers farm prolifically.
Yeah, I mean, even during the regular season, I think the 2 best junglers at counter jungling were actually Reignover and Xmithie, because what their strategy was is anytime the enemy would try and gank them, you just go and take their jungle to counter the ganks. And
which sounds very easy.
It sounds very simple, but it's really hard to know when to go in, know when you're not going to get counter ganked, have the right wards up so you know when the gank is coming. But so far, Svenskeren has just been farming so hard. Like, where's Xmithie actually going to counter jungle right now? Everything is down, and he's clearing the wards away as well.
Yeah, Sven's even taking away the Raptors himself from Xmithie, so it's getting a bit more bleak here for the CLG jungler as Yellow Star battle with Darshan for ward superiority. And even Doublelift comes up, so yeah, even Trinket Ward goes down. TSM controlling his bot jungle, and yet another camp stolen away from Xmithie, who now has to walk topside without much to take.
Yeah, looks like COG is going to try and transition into a 1-3-1, though, with Echo and Poppy in the side lanes and put Stixxay and Morgana in the mid lane. The question will be whether or not TSM can match both of those Poppy and Echoes in the side lanes, because I don't really think that the Caitlyn Morgana is there to actually take the turret. I think Bjergsen can hold that off pretty easily by himself.
Yeah, very curious here. Actually, CLG are collapsing into the red side jungle. They've got 1 pink ward set up, trying to lay down the rest of the vision control and take away this red from Svenskeren.
Yeah, it's a 2-level advantage for Svenskeren, so this is a dicey proposition.
Slight advantage for Sven, plus execute.
Oh, got it!
Xmithie gets it anyway, very nice.
Really good stuff.
Will there be a counter, though? They're trapped in that red buff while TSM is actually pushing the mid lane.
Red buff for mid turret is not the best, but they've got some time.
They're going to get a lot of damage on it. It's going to go at least below half HP. Morgana close to being in range. Yellowstar can still stay around. Of course, Fate's Call can always keep him safe. So Yellowstar able to play aggro. Bjergsen coming in. Yep, there's the Dark Binding, and they will choose to save Fate's Call, but Yellowstar getting really low because of that. Yeah. Saving the cooldown means Yellowstar's got a recall.
Fate's Call is huge for TSM right now because Doublelift and Yellowstar are basically the team fight control for TSM right now. Svenskeren and Bjergsen are the poke components. Oh my goodness! That's an AP Echo, remember. That is not your normal top lane Echo building
Abyssal Scepter, and Hansur was laning against the Poppy, so it's a completely different damage type that he has to swap into now. That's not the situation TSM wants to be in.
And that's such a good thing for CLG, running double teleport. Those champions are basically interchangeable, and how good it is that they have 2 different damage types, getting to abuse the itemization.
And I really like how CLG are playing to the situation that they find themselves in this game because of that first blood. They want to keep this game spread out here and contest these smaller objectives and force these small fights so that TSM don't group up and use this, Kalista while she's on her Hurricane, Trinity Force, Corki ready to go, keep them spread out.
Absolutely agree. CLG
it is a dangerous game,
faster. Yeah. The early Swifties, I mean, all the things we're seeing, all the gameplay we're seeing from CLG, from item choices to lane assignments, speaks to them playing a more spread out style. That's kind of always been one of CLG's trademarks, was their ability to macro play. Right? They didn't pick up all the individual stars who were the best in their role and the best in their continent, but it's been their teamwork that's got them this far.
And their specialty has been pressure in all 3 lanes, also known as the 1-3-1. But when TSM has been making this resurgence, it's been with Hanser on a tank and team fighting, quite honestly. So it's going to be an interesting stylistic matchup, especially in this game when CLG is looking more for the 1-3-1 and TSM is looking for the team fights. When they are the stronger team fight team, though, and they don't have enough pressure in the side lanes on CLG's side, it was an easy dragon take for TSM.
Yeah.
Cole has finally paid off now for Stixxay, so that gold lead has shrunk quite a bit now as CLG are fast approaching their own important power spikes. We already know that who he had as Abyssal Scepter, but now he's going towards the Morellonomicon, it looks like. And Stixxay isn't too terribly far away from that Hurricane coming through. Hurricane plus 70 AD from items is honestly pretty good for Caitlyn, and 5-on-5s will look good for Stixxay once that item comes through.
Yeah, the 5-on-5, you know, with Aphromoo on the Morgana rounding it out, looks so much better, because usually when you see the Kindred versus Gragas matchup, it's this, you know, 50-50 game where is Gragas going to have to use his ultimate to engage or something like that, or is he going to be able to save it to knock people out of Kindred ultimate? Even if he saves it, Aphromoo can black shield whoever's low on the Kindred ultimate, and they get to stay in it, even if the barrel does come down.
Now speaking of Kindred, Xmithie, as he kills down that Rift Scud on the bottom side, is 11 stacks on Devourer, so still plenty of room to grow. Does have 3 Kindred marks though. The various counter juggling has allowed him to grab those 3 easy marks now, and now it's going to be into the deeper camps and champion kills to get any higher than this, but Xmithie will look to keep playing aggressively around the map. Stack number 12 on Devour from the Gromp, who he's still battling with Hanser, who again has an itemization lead until finally the Spectre's Cowl has come through for him. Nice binding on a Svenskar, but no follow-up available.
Yeah, because CLG are doing such a good job of swapping lanes around and contesting these small objectives and forcing these tiny fights with TSM to try and pull them around the map. You know, Hanser has had to split his itemization. He was building straight for that Sunfire, but stopped halfway through, had to get that Cowl to be able to answer the flat magic reduction here from Huhi and his early Abyssal Scepter. So even though TSM still have this early gold lead, CLG have played around it very well.
And it's good for CLG that they have a Morellonomicon at all, because keep in mind, there are several self-healers on TSM. You've got Doublelift, who's going to go double lifesteal by the end of it all. You've got Bjergsen, who will probably get some at some point, and Svenskar and Hanser, who definitely will, just via their kits. So a nice, I don't want to say happy accident. I think part of the reason that CLG are running this build is because of this, but it's certainly very nice to have.
You kind of wanted to say happy accident.
Yeah, I mean, it partially is, right? I think you would have gone this build anyway, but it's certainly more effective here.
Morellonomicon's great item for the Echo.
Yeah, almost regardless.
And yeah, this is still anyone's game. So much of it will come down to the way the team fights are started. Like, it's not like CLG has a terrible team fighting composition by any means, but the way in which they force the team fights will be set up.
Oh, and crucial poke lands here.
Huge.
Plus they have the
going in for it though. Oh no!
Afro gets deleted. Yellowstar in the front line, but he's still okay. Fate's call is up. Teleport coming in for Hanser. Jumps forward, gets knocked right back out. Darshan says nope. But it's still a 1-for-0 and the mid tower being gone.
Even though he's ejected, the damage has been done. Bjergsen dumps off a huge amount of damage before packaging away, and they finish off Aphromoo so quickly there.
Yeah, he's a little baby level 6 Morgana, right? He's gonna get blown up, and the turret had already died.
This is the poke component of the TSM comp we're talking about. The Corki and Nidalee both landed skill shots onto Stixxay. That is the perfect happy little accident there, Freak, you were looking for. No accident, though, from TSM, as both of those guys landing their skill shots onto the primary targets. CLG trying to push back here, though. Caitlyn looking to siege up.
Afro revive, but the minion wave is gone, so how much damage can they really deal? It's actually not very much, maybe 100 damage overall here. Rapid fire cannon, actually the first item for Stixxay, so it's interesting. We mostly
get the headshots easy.
Sure, like we actually mostly see Hurricane first from Caitlyn. In terms of plurality, it's the more common first item. It's a team fight item. Rapid fire cannon is specifically a turret killing one. CLG continuing to double up on their want to hit turrets, not champions.
They want to chip the mid lane turret while they have pressure in the side lanes and never get caught in a full-on team fight. But I don't know if they can actually create the never get caught in a full-on team fight version of this, with Flash being up on Haunter and also having the doubled up initiation of Doublelift throwing a Braum into the team.
Yeah, and I really like that we've incorporated two of the more exciting tanks from the top lane. Poppy and Gragas take a lot of skill to land their initiation or their disengage tools. So Darshan and Hans are going to be hard-pressed to land their skill shots.
Trying to say Maokai's easy,
well.
Kobe?
Yes. The targeted route. That's a yes.
Very easy.
They're chipping away at that chair pretty well, though.
Yeah, got some decent damage down on this one. Both teams have claimed one dragon themselves. To keep in mind this, dragon number 2 for either team is up in 1 minute. And if CLG gets that, that means turret chipping gets a lot better, where that single auto attack puts on the 10 times current level damage burn, which is a pretty big deal when you attack twice with level 10 Caitlyn.
TSM doing a good job of slowly growing that gold lead. But it's just the outer turrets.
Yeah.
And CLG did get that early dragon, remember, so they are not really hard-pressed on neutral objective control either.
Yeah, but TSM have still done a good job of team fighting. They got the gank in from Doublelift Yellow Star to the mid lane, and then again the mid lane siege, so you got to feel good about this bot lane of TSM.
Yeah.
100% KP, plenty of kills.
CLG not too perturbed. This standing gold in this outer turret looking very juicy for them. My question is always, you know, as a team with an outer turret. Ooh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 people, though,
Built
so if
this.
Darshan tried to fight Doublelift and Yellow Star, he would lose.
But
if they can collapse on him with more, I don't feel like
Did he
CLG is
show?
far
I
enough
think he
ahead of this
showed.
play. Yeah,
He showed.
He's got it
So
right.
now Darshan does dodge the slow from Yellow Star and outwalks away the TSM support. Bot lane will be under control yet again. TSM still sitting on this 2,500 gold lead, and with Dragon F, we'll see what the next move is.
Yeah, CLG remaining focused in the face of the gold lead. They've put so much practice into 1-3-1 that they're going to continue pressuring top turret right now, give up this dragon to TSM. Number 2 doesn't mean a whole lot to them. They will claim that global gold in the mid lane as well.
Yeah, Haunter with the Spectre's Cowl and Kindle Gem, though.
Oh, they won't.
Looking mighty
TSM
tough.
quick rotation up, and they defend it, even though it only has double-digit health, I believe.
The more these plays happen, the more likely TSM is to win the game. CLG is trying to go for trades, but they are not getting their side of the trade. So they're just giving stuff away, and TSM's been able to stop it time and again. They get the dragon, they stop the mid lane push, and they can also retreat to get deep wards within CLG's jungle. So a lot of good things happening for TSM, 21.5 minutes in.
Feeling good for TSM to get revenge from last split's championship, where
Wow.
CLG
TP's
3-0'd
away.
them.
Wow, in vision as well. The pings come down from TSM. I believe Haunter told the rest of the team they know this cooldown on Echo's teleport now. That's a very big tool for CLG that they're counting on for the mid game.
Turret HP in that mid lane is 150, so a stiff breeze would knock that one down. Or a rapid fire cannon auto attack from Stixxay. But if you can ever get in range,
Yeah.
that's the requirement.
And by the way, that teleport burned because of how risky it is to run these 1-3-1s. And sometimes you have to play overly cautious. They lost vision of TSM members who he thought, you know, maybe the rest of the team thought, and they made the call that TSM were collapsing on him, and it wasn't safe to do a regular recall, so they burned the teleport for it. Better safe than sorry is sort of the reason there from CLG, but TSM very happy to get that mid lane teleport down.
Exactly, and it's because TSM just has more pressure on the map. The fact that that was the top side of the map that TSM still had control of after taking a dragon speaks to how far behind CLG is, or how scared they have to be right now due to TSM's control.
I mean, if you toggle the vision right now, you can take a look at the Fog of War, and you'll get a feel for how scary it is. To run 1-3-1 when TSM have this much vision control on the map, this many wards out,
It's
and
insane.
CLG are really lacking. They have 2 scrying orbs, though. Stixxay is coming back up pretty soon as well.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
this map is
difficult for them.
This mini map has chicken pox. There's so many red dots all over it, and CLG realistically sees so very little. You speak to the difficulty, and it is going to be very hard. TSM have done an amazing job of playing the vision control game, despite the fact that they're not running a second sight stone. Of course, neither is CLG, but that's mostly pink ward control then.
Yeah.
You can see even defensive traps having to come down from Stixxay to cover up the left-hand side flank. They know there's no vision there, and that's how they defend themselves, is some Caitlyn traps.
But one of CLG's hopes is going to be Caitlyn. He's managed to complete the cull, get the bonus gold. He's finished his Infinity Edge, so he's working towards the third and fourth item. I think if he gets to a full build Caitlyn, then they might be able to pull off some team fights if Stix is able to play very safe.
Yeah. You can also see how TSM are trying to abuse this small window that they do have the package on Bjergsen because it provides so much team fight power. They press up. Yeah, they pressed up in all lanes, though, when they had it. You see Bjergsen right at the very edge of the turret. Yellowstar here actually going to have to make the call there for Double F to pop the Fate's call. And there goes a pretty big tool for their team fight.
It is definitely a long cooldown. Shouldn't be too bad for TSM, though, with Dragon not on the field for over 2 minutes. And Baron not really an easy objective for either side. It should be the worst consideration.
Tank fight.
Hanser and Darshan doing battle. Waits out. Steadfast presence goes right back in as they continue to fight each other.
Yeah. In this small matchup, like if you have some distance between Gragas as Poppy, I think you wait for the body slam to start, because body slam is actually one of the slower moving dashes, and you can reactionary pop that W as soon as Gragas starts moving, and you'll get the interrupt pretty much every time.
Yeah, I agree.
It is definitely harder on live when you have more ping, but for these guys,
they got it.
Afford to do it reactionary. There it is.
Finally knocked it down.
Woo!
Right, and with the turret score equalized, the game is back to 1,800 gold difference. About 1,000 of that is TSM getting kills from the 2-0 start to this game, but the rest of it is actually a farm lead.
Yeah, and it really is all about the completed items as well. You know, you could talk about a few extra gold here and there for whichever team, but everybody really sitting on 2 powerful items here for TSM, and even an extra needlessly large rod for Sven Skaren on the Nidalee. And see if they look to move in and pressure. They might just wait again till the next package window for TSM, as they've been taking it fairly cautiously so far.
Well, it looks like the next play might be for Dragon, though. That's up in 1 minute 15 seconds. That would be their third, which would be quite nice. TSM getting the rotational advantage. A knock into the wall, not going to be much against Darshan. Doublelift was around to follow up on the damage, and he will get some attacks on this turret here. Yeah, TSM are first of the show.
They're all
4 people
here.
down here.
Oh, Yellowstar taking turret there.
No
problem.
Survive. Yeah, Italy. He's going to be just fine on this one. Dragon now 55 seconds away as the Corki continues to push in the mid lane. 272 minions on Bjergsen. A pretty high clip for him.
Yeah, and the way CLG is playing this is they're going to force TSM to make an aggressive move. They're going to force a dive because they're almost never grouping as 5 versus 5. There was 4 people down there for CLG to defend, and he was top lane on Echo on teleport. Either TSM pushes really hard on here, or it's going to be a double TP in the back from CLG. Never mind.
Here comes the flank. Yellowstar is low and no Fate's call comes out. The support's gone. Here's the team fight. Oh, it's going to be the next one. Doublelift is gone. The ulti back in. That was beautiful from Huhi. A 3 for 0. CLG's got control. They're looking for Bjergsen. The flash stun comes in from Darshan. The follow-up's there. That's 4 in a row. What a team fight, CLG.
Oh my goodness, the execution on CLG's double teleports once again, so ridiculously effective. They wait and bide their time until TSM grouped up in the mid lane, and such easy access to the backline for Huhi and Darshan, both of them playing that fight so well.
And I think they're getting this Baron. They lull TSM into a false sense of security there. How many times did they set up a siege in a lane and not been punished with CLG just pushing off? And TSM's thinking, maybe we can get it this time, but no. The immediate double TP, the perfect flank, and I can't wait to see that one again.
You and me both. CLG with the double home guard teleports here. And Baron is going to be a big, big deal. All right, so Hanser does have
home
teleport.
guard and the other one from the lane, but it's on exactly the same ward. And the binding at the start on Yellowstar makes this a disaster for TSM.
And it was a pink ward, so TSM had no idea. Hanser never gets to be a part of this. Look at Huhi. He takes out Doublelift, then immediately Sven Skaren dodges the rocket as well. And Darshan goes in to finish off Bjergsen here with the flash stun onto the edge of the wall there. Those guys just wrecked the entire team.
Yeah, and a lot of the times the mark of a good team is how much they make their kills count. CLG gets their first 4 kills of the game, and that means they get Baron as well as Dragon and take themselves from about a 3K deficit straight to even.
And look at the setup for that play as well. CLG, we'd been talking about how hard of a time they'd been getting vision out on the map. Before that, they had set up 3 pink wards. So the 3 pink wards deep in mid lane, they could choose any one of those to go on. Even if TSM found one, there are 2 more Easter eggs left. And CLG, they know that TSM don't have vision of these pink wards, obviously the true sight there, so that double teleport is going to be a huge surprise. It's home guard boosted now that they've waited so long into the game, and Hanser never got to join.
Well, TSM lined up like pigs to the slaughter. The double TP from CLG worked so well, and now they're looking to continue the siege. Hurricane got completed because of that team fight. Sticks say, yeah, rapid fire cannon and dragon number 2 is gonna really like attacking these turrets now.
That 0 there at the top says it all.
Big goose egg.
It's all, and it was all team coordination. It wasn't really Haunter's fault. It was a team issue.
Which is crazy that CLG was able to set up that play because of how they had no map control 5 minutes prior to that fight, but they got the nice pink ward down, and now they're working on pushing an inhibitor turret. Meanwhile, Bjergsen is not actually here right now.
They've got a TP coming in. Now this is going to be the play. This is hoping for TSM to do exactly what CLG did to them. Yellow starting to do damage to the front line. In comes Haunter. Double gets off Huhi, and here comes the rest of the fight. Kinder keeps him alive for a little while longer, but it's a double for double. Now Stixay gets one. Xmith needed one of the shots, and it's a whole bunch of kills. TSM have gotten 4 already. Darshan is the last one alive, but he has nowhere to go. Stunned up once again. Can't find the target, and an ace for TSM firing back.
Revenge for TSM! Haunter with an epic flank right there. And the Gragas ultimate does find the people sitting on Kindred.
And Bjergsen had his package up here, so even though he was just in the mid lane, he can fly into the fight as Haunter's flanking. He's caught on the backside. Haunter gets in, and then the fight gets cut in half by Bjergsen's package.
Bjergsen and Yellowstar. Yellowstar starting that off with the Braum ultimate right down the middle of CLG. Great back-to-back team fight execution here from both teams.
And that was a whole lot of double lift on.
I love this rivalry freak.
Oh,
Sometimes you're up, the other times you're down. 4 for 0 into a 5 for 1. We are dead even here.
Oh, goodness.
Yet again, the smallest of leads now, TSM 1400. The next item in for Doublelift is not far away now as he moves with QSS in towards probably a Bloodthirster then. And you gotta see how these builds continue. Zonya's not far away from Svenskeren. You guys talked about the completed item spikes coming through. We have 70% crit chance on the Corki of Bjergsen as well, so you cannot fail to respect him. Finally, a Zonius for Huhi. He might finally survive these team fights. And you can see, yeah, this was the Doublelift show. 4,700 for him, and Haunter,
Huge
infinitely
work.
better than last fight.
He also was the one to get right onto Stixay.
It's not like Stixay and Xmith weren't able to pump out some damage in that fight, but it was the final killing blows that all fell to TSM because of the flank position there.
But you're seeing it's not how fed the members are, it's how the positioning is. Right? Last fight, Haunter couldn't even show up. This fight, Huhi did 700 damage, didn't get to do anything useful.
Yeah.
Like, that's the comparison here. If you're alive, you can do plenty of damage, but these guys are getting one shot. Or failing to arrive.
Huhi now has a Zonias on Echo as well.
Yep.
Opens up some more interesting plays with him because of the ultimate as well. You can set up and be in position for your ultimate to actually deal damage on top of you if everybody tries to group up and forgets somehow that that's what Echo does.
Echo can do this.
Like, oh yeah, let's crowd around, get that last hit on him.
Or you get really good flank position, you find a chaotic fight. Oh, Darshan
a really good hard engage. Darshan burns the flash. He's going to look for the ulti, but only knocks Doublelift into the air. Here comes Echo. They try to turn it around.
Oh, the
Darshan doesn't knock around until the end, but now the turnaround. Goes the Echo ultimate, and he's still going to chase for more. Smithy gets a kill picked up. Now Yellowstar left alone, and he's going to turn into a black hole of death, and CLG wins a 3 for 1.
Doublelift, I think he QSS something from Darshan early, and then he was on the very edge of who he stunned. Get taken down. CLG now the ones to take out the team fight and take the turret.
So many plays off of their teleports right now. It looked like a sure thing for Darshan to die there, but Huhi comes in with the teleport into a chain of stuns. And yeah, Doublelift thought he'd just drain tank that with his Bloodthirster, QSS, and Blade of the Ruin King, but the stun catches him and 3 people still dead. I think CLG is going to go through for an inhibitor here.
Gonna get a hell of a lot done right there. Turret goes down. The respawn's coming in the next 10 seconds right now, but it's not gonna be in time before the inhibitor itself dies.
Be kind of careful.
And actually, no, CLG will back off. Enough threat was there that with the home guard boost turning on, CLG have to run away and recall in time before Dragon and Baron.
Yeah, and that's huge. That the inhibitor still stands for TSM is great for them. All right, let's take a look at what Doublelift QSS is here actually, because he gets stocked up with the ults, knockback.
He just QSS'd early.
It was, yeah, I think it was the slow from Time Rewinder, or Time, anyway, it was nothing, Time Rewinder.
I mean, by that point, CLG had arrived to the fight earlier than TSM anyway, so even if he did QSS, I still think he's going to fall, but he could have gotten some crucial damage out if he didn't get stunned.
And he has double life still, so yeah.
Yeah. He was very close to being able to just Callista all the way around that fight, but oh boy. That's what these games are decided on. Split-second decisions. Split-second missed positions. Can you double teleport in?
With back-to-back team fights, being determined by the great teleports and setup from both teams, for it to come down to something micro like that in the bottom lane there is actually pretty big. CLG striking back, but still the gold lead marginal.
Sure, and the game's just entirely been about these individual plays. Is the flank good? Is the outplay good? Did you QSS the right ability? Now a Mercurial Scimitar done for Stixxay, so 4-item Caitlyn is certainly going to be online. And unless he gets one shot by a miraculous Gragas ultimate, Stixxay's going to be fine. And keep in mind, you can QSS Flash out of a knockback and go right back where you were before. So proper play by Stixxay, he's going to have uptime.
Caitlyn was definitely Stixxay's best performing champion in the semifinals, but in the other games, he was fairly questionable. And this is bold. It's blind,
double teleport's
they know what's happening.
Okay, CLG wants him, but TSM will get the Baron first, so now it's up to the team fight. Does CLG even want it? He has to ult to stay alive, but he's still getting chased down. A nice knockback on a 2. Javelin hits as well. Will we find more of an engage? Zonya's into the shield. He stays alive for now. He's going to have to run away. Now Darshan to the backside, only gets a simple knockup, and now has nowhere to go. But there's a re-engage. They look for Bjergsen. Can't quite get him, though. Binding his double, keeping him out of the fight for a little while.
He's got this.
Looking for the kill, and a Hanser gets it. That's a 1-for-1. Top laners both dead. 4v4 CLG are looking for the chase. Stixxay slowed down by a Luden's Echo Rylays thanks to his
They have got to be careful, but they're going for this.
Oh, it's Baron empowered recalls though. But Scaren's out. That actually means number is advantage for CLG.
No! Here comes the push forward. Half HP. QSS is ulti in for Smithy. And then look for Yellow Star. The damage for Stixxay. Can't quite get it. The heal comes out. Looking for the auto attacks. Can't find the damage though.
You think when he teleports out
laughing
with the Baron and Power Recall, it's like, oh my god, he abandoned his team, but he makes it back at the end.
Also, the home guards boost right out of the base. The healer has arrived just in time. Oh my goodness, and only the top laners to go out. This time, TSM grabbed the Baron, blow for blow here.
And keep in mind, Stixxay burned Flash and Heal to try to reach to get into range for those killing blows. So he burned 2 summoners.
And Mercurial for the 1 second speed.
I mean, he burned every active he had and still didn't get any kills on the backside of that one.
Yeah, so because TSM got the jump on this, they were able to rend the Baron down, but then it's such a back and forth push and pull fight. Huhi wasn't able to ult backwards, but Darshan actually buys a tremendous amount of time on the backside, even though this seemed
and this is so
rich choice.
To pull up a team fight where you're split, your main tank is on the other side, and Darshan tries to make it all the way through from CLG's extremely risky there. They do get the 1 kill because Smithy has Gragas cornered on the outside, and Kindred will take down Gragas, even though he's a top lane Gragas. This late into the game, all the stacks there.
Smithy is really strong this game. He's doing a whole bunch of damage in all these fights. 14,400 gold, which is 2,000 more than Sven Skaren.
It's a really big deal. Yeah, Smithy, Hurricane, right, and the standard Sterix mob build is going to be a lot of damage for
challenging.
Yeah, sure. Well, challenging at least for both these guys, but yeah, also the Rylays and the Zonias. It's pseudo-tanky, but very damage-focused for both these junglers.
Okay, so after that explosive team fight, remember both top laners burned their teleports, but CLG still have,
just got to escape. He pushed too far.
Yep. That's the second time Hui's had to do this, though, and again.
So they burned the teleport just to get that minion wave into the top side turret. TSM, though, actually just farming, so not a whole lot gained there with that extra teleport.
TSM unable to do anything with the Baron buff is the crucial thing. They got Baron. It was a 1-for-1. You can see the actual Baron power play itself. CLG just swept a bunch of minion waves and kept the game close.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Huhi's damage takes off now with the Lich Bane, so that'll be very interesting in the next fights. We just need to figure out kind of where the next breaking point is going to be, because the Dragons are very close, the Gold is very close, and the fights have actually been very close.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Huhi himself, just with the pressure.
He's going to have pressure on the back line of TSM, so Doublelift is going to have to be very careful about where he throws Yellow Star in these team fights, because if he gets rid of his peel, Echo and Poppy can very easily just execute it.
And TSM have to respect Huhi's split push. The Lich Bane that he talked about on Echo, he can quickly take down one of these exposed inhibitors.
For now, they're respecting him with the 2-versus-1, but Darshan's over in the wings. Damage on Huhi, staying alive for now, but here comes the cavalry. A nice knockback gets rid of the Callista. They still look for the damage. Svenskar forced to jump away with his flash, and the rest of the team is now en route. It's a 5-versus-4.
Here, though.
Bjergsen 5-on-5 through Svenskar. Here's the knock-in, but he doesn't find anyone to go for. Hanser now to the backside. Zonia's pop with an Italy. Here's the re-engage. Huhi gets it. That's 1-for-0. The son of a Yellow Star. He's going down, and Braum will fall. It's a 2-for-1, though. Kidderolti does not save anybody of note. Who he has already dropped, but it's a third kill picked up for Darshan. CLG winning another team fight.
And the inhibitors are exposed here. CLG still with the 280 carries up. They can get right in there. Double lift. And Bjergsen as well, gonna match them. It's Corki Kalista.
Yeah, Stixxay still full health. Another teleport coming in at full health. 30 seconds on these death timers. Maybe CLG runs clean across the inside of the base to go for the second explosion inhibitor, or they go for the end.
This game is endable. Kalista, Corki don't exactly have good frontline tools to survive these kinds of champions. Dark Binding lands, someone dies.
They're going for the 2 inhibs.
They are going for the inhibs, but there's still 20 seconds on most of the respawns here. Poke on Aframu, TSM playing it safely enough. CLG doing the same, actually. Not risking the game, just the double inhib and the safe recall.
Ooh, boy. That fight, though.
That provides so much pressure for CLG. All right, let's take another look at how that one started out as Aframu flash binding, full range lands onto Sven.
Hunter missed his body slam flash there that was going to be an initiation attempt on Afra or Stixxay. The black shield was there, but that was fight changing the fact that he couldn't make it in. Then he ults backwards and doesn't have really much effect. So Hunter unable to land those crucial, hard to execute plays on Gragas. And who he mentioned having that assassination potential does get that towards the end. That was so critical that Gragas was unable to get his body slam flash in.
Definitely massive.
Oh my God.
Though, speaking of critical, his health is dangerously low. Thunderlord's triggered by Bjergsen, gets the damage across. Now the ulti will get the knockup on a CLG support, but there's no follow-up. So Yellowstar ulted for nothing, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, well, they already have 2 inhibitors down, so they're trying to hide in the fog of war, get a quick pick or damage, and then run back to defend. They also have Hanser clearing 1 wave of super minions. So TSM's, they're really in a bind right here because they have essentially 2 waves of super minions that they have to deal with when a team is already splitting them up the way CLG has.
CLG now have so many tools to use with the 2 inhibitors down and Baron popping up in 55 seconds. Scuttle Crab was taken, but it will time out. CLG can just wait it out right when Baron spawns. They have a lot of wards to clear out, though. TSM have been able to place that at least. A lot of minion duty for TSM to take care of first, though.
And if a minion wave ever gets close to that ward on the inhibitor in TSM's base, expect CLG to be looking for a teleport to end the game with. Like, they're very willing.
It is Darshan.
I mean, you have TP up right now on Blue Elixir, Lichbane, Huhi. Like, good luck.
The ward just died.
Aww.
That's sad.
What if the minions show up?
Then they can just do that, yeah.
All right, we'll see if they can find any more plays here in this one. Black Shield and Stixxay, plenty of range on him, binding on a Yellow Star, but no follow-up damage available just yet. But a Black Shield Rapid Fire Cannon Caitlyn. There's not a lot of counterplay to that siege. Yeah,
the trap spam here from Caitlyn and CLG is going to be huge. Double Lift is on top lane duty right now, trying to clear out these super minions that have stacked up.
Well, Hurricane User one of the best to do this, so Double is going to get plenty of gold. He's already level 18, it looks like, but still, the stats are nice to have. And as the gold floods in, Doublelift will turn into a very scary threat.
So GG's try and bait here. They just need to keep TSM out on the map and give time for the minions to do work.
The thing is, if it's a clean 5v5 and they don't have any flanks or threats around the backside,
that minion wave bottom, look at that thing crashing into TSM next
really big. Yeah, and this is where CLG wants to move up a little bit aggressively because those minions are going to hold them there. A turret.
There we go. Bottom next turret under fire right now, taking plenty of damage, honestly, as the minion wave comes in. It might just kill it by itself. The banner minion from Afro certainly helping, and yes, the turret goes down. So CLG baiting TSM long enough to get a Nexus turret. TSM, though, take that loss in order to contest for Baron because CLG have started it.
Good spear.
Onto Stixxay. CLG still waiting around, and actually, Hanser is inside the base. They're trying to force his teleport to come out as Baron
have to make a choice.
HP. Here is the TP, and immediately, on cue,
Great disengage.
runs away.
They need the pop.
Oh, they can re-engage!
Looking for the play, the big knockup, and out goes Braum. Here comes the battle. Hui forced ults away. Zhonya's on from Svenskeren. Stixxay is low, getting hit up by Kalista. In goes Yellow Star. Kidderolti in the back line. CLG staying alive. Now the re-engage. Yellow Star can't stay alive. Zhonya's popped by Hui. Looking for the kill, can't find it yet. Now into Hanser. A kill into Hui. TSM tried, but they can't get it. It's a 2-for-1. Meanwhile, minions are inside the base. Both teleports are up as well. And CLG have to make a choice. Bjergsen goes into the back line. It's a 2 versus 3 in favor of TSM.
Bjergsen's gonna kill everyone.
Is gonna drop as well. TSM looking for the final couple of kills.
But can they even clear the dodge? Bjergsen's the DPS, and they have a support back. The
He's got to run. He's got to run. And it's not going to be enough. The Winions live up to their name. Afromu making the game-winning push thanks to the banner, thanks to the delay. Good game, CLG.
And that was just the first game of this series.
What a final here in North America. Game 1 came down to the CLG macro decision making.
CLG talked about focusing on teamwork. It was all about the teamwork, even minions included for Counter Logic Gaming. Nobody's left out.
It's
on
not
their
just
side.
your 1v1 play. You got to play the map, and that's what better analogy than to have minions kill the Nexus after you lose a team fight, because you know if they commit to the team fight, the minions will do it for you.
Not fair. CLG have 75 people on their team. all these blue minions as well as the 5.
Oh my God.
But